My name is Tanya Newmeyer. This is a Toronto Poetry Slam online. I'm your host tonight. Let's do this. If you have video visible, please give a ASL round of applause. So that's if you're a poet who hasn't available. And if you are muted and you're staying muted the whole time in your living room or wherever you are, a bedroom, feel free to like give a full out round of applause. You know, your cousin or hamster or cat or dog are going to be like, what is going on? But you know what's going on. It's a poetry slam. It's very exciting in here, right? So applause, keep that applause going for our first poet to take this virtual stage. Give it up for Clicky.
I go towards a crisis like my soldier papa went to war. I volunteer. And when the cops locked down my school because some kid got rolled in the park, I'm the idiot who speed walks down the hallway to ask my principal, what do you need? Yeah, I'll be the teacher holding the door for the cops and the one chasing the kid who brought booze to the dance through the cold parking lot. You see, I know a kid who eats nothing but the popcorn I keep in my desk. I buy in bulk and hope that popping popcorn might somehow save her from popping pills, promiscuity, and pessimism. Learning was so easy for me. I did it even when I didn't have to. But in the trenches, I move by stealth, knowing kids whose ideas come quick like lightning, only to get washed away in the downpour. But never mind the weather. I'll be there smiling. C'est toujours une nouvelle journée dans mon classe, I once said badly in French because it was the only common language. Yes, I am livid that your daughter's essay was plagiarized, but tomorrow is a new day. And it always is a new day for the one who swore at me, laughed at me, lied to me, yelled at me, got taken away in handcuffs, tried to bully me, bribe me, stole from me, ran from me, never mind the one who didn't even show up. And when David's got his head down on the desk in frustration and Heather's picking on Bernie and Jamie's yelling at the top of her lungs how much she hates English, I don't prorogue the class. I give David a pep talk and Heather a stern talk and Jamie intensive help, and I can do this with a fever, migraine, broken heart, dying relatives, and my bargaining rights tied behind my back. In the trenches of public education, a good soldier knows that in loco parentis isn't just a quaint Latinism from teachers' college, because we're going loco trying to parentis these kids whose parents have gone AWOL. So go ahead and hold me to a higher standard. I'm not afraid of public disdain. I work with teenagers. Call me lazy, overpaid, entitled. I don't need you to understand because I know when I've done my job. When your audience is 15-year-olds, the reviews come in fast like video game fire. And my weapon of choice is listening. Yeah, my ears are sharper than tacks. I catch every titter and tech sap in class, so I can't help but hear some of that teacher bashing crap. But if I went to this war for glory, I'd already be gutted. So here's my story. I teach kids. I talk to kids, I listen to kids. I laugh with kids, I cry with kids. My badge of honor is earning a kid's respect. So what if I don't have Joe Publix yet? So when you see me on summer vacation, you should really be wishing me congratulations for going to war another year and surviving, for the kids who are thriving, because it doesn't matter what you say. In the trenches, it's a brand new day.
All right, give it up for Clicky. Whether you're going like this or you're going like this, woo! Applause, applause. I see the chat. The chat is going wild. Look at all those hands and beautiful things and high 10s. Or is that a 20? And comments. Very sweet. Thank you, Clicky. Judges, this is the longest that I am going to give all the chatters to chitter and chatter and chatter and Twitter and twatter. And I don't even know. There's a thing called TikTok. Anyways, do all your things. So that was our sack Clicky, and I've just dropped a message. So if everyone could stop hitting enter for a moment on the chat, that would be fabulous. And now we are going to go to, instead of all of that fabulous qualitative feedback that I see you offering, we are going to give numbers. So this is the moment when judges only, our 5 judges, I forget their names, but I'm so glad they're all here. Thank you, judges. This is when our 5 judges are going to drop their scores so that Alyssa Ginsberg can take note of the scores. As you remember, if you've been to a poetry slam before, we take the highest and the lowest score and we drop it. I shouldn't tell you this before, but maybe you already knew this. Maybe I should have told you this before. Anyway, so judges, please, Sean, please drop your scores. Go from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal scale. From Toka, we have a 7.6. From Michelle Hilliard, we have an 8.7. From Mariam, we have an 8.2. From Rahma, we have a 7.5. And I'm waiting for our fifth judge. The reason I asked you to drop them all at once is it is a little confusing for me if they go fast, but
It came privately from Dana to me, and it's a 7.5.
And Dana gives a 7.5. All right. So Dana, next time, if you could message in the everyone link, that would be great. Then we'll know we're all in the same timeline together and we know when to move on. So Alyssa's going to do some poetry math, which is dropping the highest and lowest score and adding the middle 3 for a perfect poem of 30. But remember, the points are not the point. The poetry is the point. No worries at all, Dana. All good. So thank you all for being here. That was our warm-up. So on deck is Noha. And up next, all that applause is Keep It Going. It's so beautiful. Keep it going for our first poet of the Toronto Poetry Slam online proper. Give it up for Cameron.
An open letter to my ex. Listen, I only blocked you because my friends told me to. I've already spent the past 30 minutes coming up with lines you will probably never care to read, so maybe I'll just burn these pages until these thoughts are nothing but ash. I've already burned the Polaroids, but you still stain the lens. See, you are a rusty old penny. In Canada, we don't use pennies anymore. You might be considered a novelty, but you are not even worth my so sick. But if I'm without you for long enough, this too shall pass. This isn't to say that I need you. This one, but I will keep seeing you. I'm looking to chase these dreams for a future as bright as the moon. I just don't know where to start to get rid of the nightmares I still have of you. See, this is no sky of lighters. These are the stars, but the stars are dead, and so is okay, I just see here. Please redo this poem. Can I redo the poem? Is that okay?
You got 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We dropped about probably 15 seconds of audio total. So pick up wherever you'd like.
Okay. See, this is no sky of lighters. These are the stars, but the stars are dead, and so is my love for you, but I can't help but immortalize its beauty. That is to say, the thought of you coming back to me lights up this darkness. I've been living in this darkness for years. I've seen many a star fizzle out over time, but this one is still glowing even a year after you've left. See, once I believed bleach would be the end of me. Once I believed trazodone would be the end of me. Once I believed you would be the end of me, but there is no end of me in sight. I'm still learning to be okay with that, but every day without you makes it a little easier. This isn't to say that I hate you or I'm better off without you. This is to say thank you. You never learned to love, but fuck, did you try? You made your mistakes and as did I, but I do not regret a single moment. See, no matter the line circling my mind about your demise, know this. If I were given a choice, I would fall in love with you again and again. You may ask how I could love you after everything that's happened, but I loved you the way I loved my first doll. Even if someone needs to pry you from my fingers to help you become good as new, I will never let go of your heart. Even with the dirt stains and the frayed edges, I will keep you on my nightstand as a reminder that I've loved and I've been loved, and it will happen again one day.
All right, thank you, Cameron. So we are applauding now for Cameron. Whether we're going like this or we're putting our feels in the chat, it is happening. Thank you so much. Sorry, there was a technical glitch there. Reminder to poets, as I mentioned, if you're having trouble with your audio and you notice it in the chat, you might want to drop your video and carry on with the audio. Such a fantastic first poet in the first round proper. Great to hear from you. Thank you, Cameron. So now, judges, you have to judge the poem. I've probably given you too much time, right? To assign a number to that poem from 0 to 10, all the way through the decimal score. Anyone who's already hit enter on the chat, please leave it at that. Now let's leave space for our judges. This is judges for the first poet, Cameron. Thank you, Clicky, for the sacrificial poet. So we have from well, I'm not going to be going from low to high. From low to high, we have an 8.0. another 8.0, a 9.1. Oh, I mixed up the order. An 8.5 and an 8.5. I can almost do that math in my head.
Let's just do it in the order it comes up.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm
The
reading.
order it comes up, it's 8.5, 8.5, 9.1, 8, and an 8.
Yay!
So you can applaud the poet, not the score. Applaud the poet, not the score. Woo! So Cass Myers, you are on deck. Toronto Poetry Slam Online. I know you are now spread much further than just in Toronto. Please give a warm welcome to our next poet, our second poet in the slam proper. Give it up for Noha.
I can't breathe, was the last thing he said, with the officer's arm wrapped tightly around his neck until he breathed his last breath. I can't breathe. The last words he said before he wound up dead in broad daylight. He pleaded for his life with 6 officers on his back, and his plea was ignored. All because he was big. No, scratch that. Because he was Black, killed by those who are supposed to protect us. Rest in peace, Eric Garner, July 17, 2014. 17 years old, he was shot while taking a walk to the home he was staying at, just 70 yards away from the back door, armed with a bag of Skittles in his pocket, another name never to be forgotten and added to the docket of injustice. The list of documented crimes don't even scratch the surface, and the ones who commit the crimes walk the streets free, just like he was doing that eve, but was killed for minding his own business and keeping to himself. Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin, February 26, 2012. Shot down by not 1 but 2 missiles, innocent men, women, and children aboard, all gone just minutes after takeoff. Their lives taken by those who had no right to take their lives. Another 176 lives lost to political crimes. Rest in peace, victims of Flight PS752, January 8, 2020. Over 550,000 people brutally killed, beaten by their own leaders, beaten, shot, chemical attacks, torture tactics that were meant to instill fear in people, and they are succumbing to the fear. They live in a nightmare, resulting in widespread hysteria. Rest in peace, victims of the Syrian civil war, March 2011 to present day. I am breathing, but I can't breathe until humanity is freed from our man-made hate. The gates of paradise have opened up for far too many innocent lives taken before their time. I'm saying enough to senseless deaths. Those who are armed to protect us should not be the ones killing us. When I look around, I'm struggling to find justice and peace. Those who are sworn to protect us are in many cases our greatest enemies. Governments conspiring together, convicting innocent men to death row. It doesn't matter what truths they know. In civil war, they kill their own to close a case or stay in power. They show no mercy. 0 hour power. They breathe down our necks and take away our faith and hope in the justice system. Even in countries that are so-called free, they poison the air we breathe. This so-called freedom is just a fucking dream. They breed hate. They don't alleviate. They create the death and destruction we see every day. We already have to deal with cancers and illness and unforeseen accidents. We don't need these ill feelings towards each other. We are all brothers and sisters, descendants of Adam and Eve, and I believe in the greater good. I believe that when I leave this earth, I will be judged for my deeds. So to those who want relief, don't rely on others to change their lives. It starts with you and me. You see, we can build a better dream that our children can perceive to be true. You see, freedom is a dream that I need to believe will come true. Those who dreamt it before us have paved the way. In this day and age, we have more power than we know. We have what it takes to break the cycle of violence and hate. We have the voice, the means. Our fingertips can create or break dreams. The world is watching our every move. We can choose to repair the damage. Together, we cannot lose. We is the key, because what this world is missing is compassion and unity.
Thank you, Noha. Applause for Noha, the second poet in the first round. Thank you for being here with us tonight, sharing your words, your voice, your cadence. We are going to score the poem with numbers. So judges, that's the audience's chance to put in their comments, and now we are going to hear from you from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal score scale. Score that poem. For Noha, we haven't, at the same time, judges, you got this, you can do it. All right, yay, you did it. Look at you, you're champions. I'm only missing one person. We have an 8.0. We have an 8.5. We have another 8.5. We have another 8.0. And we have our first 10 of the virtual slam. Thank you, everyone. Applaud that poet one more time. Woohoo, Noha. All right, so Sneha, you are on deck. And Toronto Poetry Slam Online, please give that loud and proud virtual applause for the next poet. taking this mic. Give it up for Cassandra Myers.
Content warning: sexual violence. It's easier to kill a fish because it doesn't make a sound. Scans of the orbital frontal cortex show it's not how you cause harm, but how you take what you've done to bed with you. It is easy to worm a body on a barbed question mark when pain is assessed sonically, a scale of octaves tuned to a voice chunking in a meat grinder. But the scream axis of skin crawling to blood curdling does not account for the vacuum seal of a hungry mouth, stealing the oxygen from every bloom in a quivering lung. Cue the flashbacks, my everything, gaping, all my pores, windpipes, clogged by swarms of salmon, sprinting from a remorseless moan, loud only in number, faceless in name, cotton-stuffed and gasping. I have drowned in bleached shallow throats, their consciences lemon-scented, because I never blue-lipped or struggled to come up for air. Too much deer in headlights and not enough shark in fishbowl. I'm supposed to have outgrown talk of perpetrators and victims since having brunch with the people who gutted me. I don't wish them the live well rot of a jail cell. I do not want them deboned, disposable, but I do want the guilt to surface, to coat their every cell in cod oil, iodine slicked and whimpering, wood kneeling in the courthouse of my memory. Transformative justice can't happen unless the person who did the harm is willing to participate. I think that's the worst part of it all. The way that anglers are as unmoved as a beached whale when we point to all the bloodied hooks in our cheeks, begging for release. Their fingers are gagging their ears as they crank the volume on the reel, saying, "Spit it out. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, so it didn't happen. I can't hear you, so I can't be sorry." Some are sportsmen in a splash tournament, but so many claim to be spectators from the boardwalk, ignorant to the bodies swelling with salt from their own nets. If you say the word rapist and point to their anatomy, fear takes their skeleton by the shirt collar and they swing instinctually. What would I even want them to say? Maybe that they saw me squirm, even though they didn't hear me scream. Maybe that they felt there was something off with my eye glazing in their gut and decided it was just a small snag in the weed bed. Maybe that they chose to cast a camouflage line, but are now choking on their own tangled lure. I don't want their slippery apologies. I want no part in patting the hand which has held my head under bathwater, but I do want the guilt to flood the shoreline of their every breath. I want them to never forget and never again, forever wading through the lake of rib bones and beer glass. Should they ever reach toward me with a hooked palm, I will send them reeling and reeling and reeling, wordlessly, without warning, not knowing what hit them.
And that is Cassandra Myers hitting us with a poem online at Toronto Poetry Slam. Thank you so much. Keep that applause going for Cassandra Myers. It's in the chat. I see the applause. The feeling and feedback is there. So, judges, we get to score that poem with numbers. Oh, slam. So can I get all 5 scores? 3, 2, 1 in the chat. Reminder to anyone who's joined us recently that this is your moment to pause before giving more amazing feedback so we can keep these scores here. We have an 8.8. We have a 9.5, a 9.2, another 9.5, and a 9.7. Give it up one more time for Cassandra Myers. Yes. And that means, Minu, you are on deck, and Toronto Poetry Slam. Now let's get that applause going for Sneha, our next poet to take this virtual microphone. We are going to hear from Sneha.
I am standing in the Lincoln Tunnel, 1 foot in New Jersey, 1 in New York. My body torn in 2 by a border drawn in chalk. The line is a tightrope, but I am unsure I want to reach either end, and if I try hard enough, I can smudge it out, but my lungs are still filled with chalk dust. When I was 5 years old, my parents drew a border 7,534 miles long. It swallowed me whole. 2 ocean shorelines lay between my past and my future. I am still stuck somewhere in between, still learning to swim. I was taught water never leaves the earth, is a continuous cycle. I wish I had its steady way of shifting, taking different forms but never changing composition. Where I was born, rain floods the streets 3 months each year. Where I am now, the water is a little colder, falls in soft crystals that rest on your fingertips like the gentle pangs of homesickness. I used to build snow forts as another way to cover myself in white. Accents melt on my tongue like the snowflakes I used to catch. I use them to speak poetry in a language once used to imprison my people. My tongue used to hate the taste of vanilla ice cream, only knew dal and chapati. I learned to tone down my spice in more ways than one. I celebrate Diwali, the festival of lights, but tell my friends the bulbs hanging from our rooftop are Christmas decorations. My childhood is a tapestry of almosts. Indian, but almost Canadian. Lost, but almost found. They will tell you Canada is a mosaic. What they will not tell you is that you have to put the pieces together yourself. Sometimes there truly is no place like home, as in maybe home is not a place, but our ancestors built shelter from wood and stone, so I will do it with flesh and blood. I am at home here.
All right, keep it going for Sneha. We have heard that poem. We are applauding. We are offering amazing feedback in the chat. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to judge all the poems with similar or different numbers. Remind me to tell you more about slam math in just a moment, because I'm about to get very distracted. Let's give the scores for that poem from 0 to 10, all the way through the decimal scale, please, judges. Hold your comments, everyone else. We have an 8.0, an 8.8, a 9.3, a 7.5, and an 8.0. Give it up for that poet, Sneha, one more time. Woo! I have a sensitive mic. How much can I clap? Amazing. And the whole numbers and then the decimals. Don't remind me about the math thing. I'm going to do a little intermission here about the math. I tweeted a question of how many permutations and combinations are there for the possible number of SLAM scores that could be given. Of course, we have a statistically biased sampling that we only see online and at SLAMs, but turns out, just to cut to the chase for people who are groaning or hiding under their couch cushions right now because I'm talking about math, there's about 10.5 billion combinations of possible SLAM scores in terms of 5 numbers from 0 all the way through the decimal scale to 10. And I'm done with the math. But I love both math and poetry. So Eve, you are on deck, and now we are welcoming our next poet to this virtual stage. Please help me give a warm welcome to Toronto and our big, beautiful, wide community. Give it up for Minu.
Hello, I'm sorry for my poor video. I get attached to places, to the corners of living spaces, the courtyard in my father's house in India, which had 5 mango trees, where I spent my days as a child and youth, dreaming the dreams that took me to faraway places. The backyard of that house with a red-tiled floor, which had a compound wall with frogs and tadpoles, and occasionally turtles. It's in there that I wondered how the turtles appeared in a closed well. I get attached to places like my mother's house, where I spent all my holidays, watching dragonflies matter my mid-morning moments with vigor, where when the monsoons came down, it came like hell, leaving the rivers pregnant with water gushing out of their veins, as if to nourish the land left parched in the summer that went by. The long veranda which gave birth to my thoughts, from where I read book after book from my maternal uncle's library, the thoughts that have taken me afar, to lands far away and destinations afar. I get attached to places like the old condominium in beautiful Edison, New Jersey, where I saw cats kick dust under forsythia bushes that had just blossomed into a riot of sunshine yellow. From the patio in that house, Sitting on a rundown plastic chair, I gazed at the stars on summer nights, sipping wine while counting aeroplanes that dotted the clear skies. The corner of that house where I had my little sanctuary set up, with twinkling lights and my lucky bamboo, snake plants, crotons, jade plants, and peace lilies adding to the charm. I get attached to places. The garage converted to a single bedroom in cold Stockholm. They said it was spring, but I felt the cold of winter seep into my being, even as my husband tried to keep me warm. I worked from an iron table as my workstation, but every afternoon, taking my son out to the river was something I looked forward to. The meandering river mumbled things, and I stayed for hours by its side trying to converse, while my little son threw pebble after pebble into the ripples. I get attached to places like that house in Harrow, London, which had a big window that opened to views of the hills of the 300-acre Friend Park. When it rained, I left the windows open, watching the rain fall on meadows and trees. Besides the window, the smallest dining table from IKEA that had become my writing table from which I wrote poem after poem when the house fell silent after the children left for school and my husband left for London, the windowsill that held my collection of stones from the various rivers and streams that I had visited. I get attached to places like living spaces or extensions of the human self. A part of me lives in all these places where I no longer live. I ache to go back in time to some of these places. That's when I take a piece of paper and embrace the black ink. I put pen to paper and go back in time like a time traveler going back and forth in time, even while I'm here in Toronto, Canada, making memories of snow-kissed windows through which I see car lights twinkle through a long line of pine trees on which squirrels jump and jump in spring, summer, fall, and winter. Thank you.
All right, applause. Keep that applause going for Minu. I get attached to places, and here we are online in this virtual place. Thank you for sharing. Thanks everyone for your wonderful applause. And now judges. Let's judge the poem from 0 to 10, all the way through the decimal scale. So judges, now we will have all 5 scores. You are not biased by the other judges. We have a 9.5, an 8.0, an 8.8, a 7.0, and a 9.2. Thank you. And Ian Kedeku. Damn you, linear time, but thank you for volunteering. So what this means is that, I don't know if I told you the math behind this one. There is a 0.5 deduction for every increment of, I'm saying it wrong, that people go over 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So in this case, Alyssa Ginsburg will do the math. The time was?
It's a minus 1.5.
36, you could see that too, right? 3 minutes and 36 seconds. All right, thank you so much. I think we could be halfway through our first round. And so that means that Nia is on deck, and Kate Kassirer is our next poet in this slam proper. Give your warm round of applause for Kate Kassirer, please. Woo!
My sexuality moonlights as mistress, dresses up as girl next door, cloaks itself in fantasy. My sexuality has an hourly rate, charges extra for choking, only has sex with people it does not love. My sexuality looks like crisp bills in candlelight, like envelopes full of 50s stuffed in underwear drawer, like pictures with my face blurred but my tits out. My sexuality smells like scented candles and stale semen, tastes like latex and lube, looks like anyone but myself. My sexuality hides behind lingerie and white wine, says no, quietly, followed by thank you followed by sorry. My sexuality tried to fit itself into a box, but now Schrodinger is not sure if it is alive anymore. My sexuality is fisting the system, is fucking the patriarchy, is forgetting last night ever happened. My sexuality looks like memories I can't erase, and money that doesn't feel like mine, and strangers and their fucking expectations. My sexuality knows what it looks like, wants to tattoo horror on its inner lips. When you spit that word at it, we'll both know it was in its mouth first. My sexuality wears dyke, like a tattoo it sometimes lies about the meaning of, but regardless, it is always on its skin. My sexuality gets shy when trying new things, expects others to expect it to be experienced. My sexuality is experienced, and by that I mean often experiences its body not feeling like its own. My sexuality had forgotten the direction of home, but then found love bright as North Star, found comfort in the crook of their arms, found partners that hold me after a long day at work. Don't judge me when I show them where it hurts. My sexuality used to be strictly a performance, outfit put on for the show, costume taken off when curtains close. My sexuality is reinventing its boundaries, relearning its confidence, remembering a time before it only existed as a mirror, reflecting someone else's desires. My sexuality says no, without saying thank you, without saying sorry.
Give it up for Kassirer. Poet taking the mic, sharing a poem, my sexuality, and there you go. You've heard the poem. You're giving applause and good and loved it and OMG wow. Thanks for the qualitative feedback. And now let's get the scores. So judges, 3, 2, 1, all at the same time. All right, from our judges, I see someone tried to bias the judges with that 10. We have a 9.0, a 9.6, a 10, a 9.6, and another 10. Give it up for Kassirer. All right, amazing, everyone. We are applauding, we are applauding. We know that Ayomide is on deck, and we are now giving a warm welcome to Mia. Let's welcome Mia to this virtual stage.
Okay, if everyone can hear me, I guess I can start the poem. Okay. An atonement. They say to redeem oneself is to cleanse yourself of sins, free your soul from burdens, and rinse the body dry like clean laundry. I have never followed instructions and can never learn to listen. So forgive me if I mess up this ritual, but before I progress further, I hope this is consensual, for I do not wish to treat on fire before it melts to ice. When you talk about invitations, you left out the RSVP. I guess not everyone is welcome to your Mad Hatter party. But I'm just an entity who tried to turn mud into milk after being scorched by the burns left by your words. So I'm not to be blamed for finding home oceans away from my mother's embrace. Indeed, I'm so tired of being the ground you step on. It won't be long till I'm uprooted like the others. But it's okay, because I have found a new land to plant my seeds, a new soul to water. Often my skin wonders why it has been raised. The red wells are angrier than ever. but you tell me to breathe until it's over. So I breathe in and out. I breathe in and out. I breathe in till I'm choking. I guess I finally learned to read between the lines. If this is your idea of being holy, then I consider myself sacred. I raise my arms in defiance, in complete solitude, for this is a ceremony with strangers after all. So forgive me for not wanting to be cleansed, for barring the sins with me and shouldering your blame. Can you really scrub filth from a body born impure and perfect?
Thank you, Mia. Applause, everyone. Applause like this. This is ASL applause if you've seen me doing this. We had ASL interpretation at our finals, and I learned a few extra words and phrases. We are also able to applaud online in the chat if you can see that. There it is. Folks are saying, yay, lovely, and other fabulous applause things. Thank you, Mia, one more time. And judges, we are going to judge that poem with numbers from 0 to 10 through the decimal scale. Can I see your scores at 3, 2, 1? I'm waiting for all 5 judges. There we go. You did it. Fabulous. Thank you. Chris, you are not a judge as far as I can tell, so please don't share a score during this time. So we have an 8.0, an 8.7, an 8.0, a 7.5, and a 6. All right. I think I had that right. Amazing, everyone. Applaud one more time for Mia. Fantastic. And we are going to hear more poetry. We are having John Williamson on deck, but let's make that Toronto Poetry Slam and our big, wide, beautiful community applause loud and proud for our next poet taking the mic. Give it up for Ayomide.
The first time I visited the Art Gallery of Ontario, I saw those metallic shadows of wind and brightening the entrance. I saw the shadows grow taller, like yam plants stretching to anything above the earth, fluid, spiraling the tree of wisdom, knowledge, truth, and postmodernism. The window of the western world opened, and first the wind escaped to hide in the tunnel of my throne. I caught the need for a mentholated savior all night, while the lingua of fire from my little lamp wavered in a new way of the early avant-garde soldier choreography. We could only fix yesterday today. We could only fix yesterday today, and tomorrow all agree that a woman under a mango tree, a woman wooed by a man under a mango tree, disco light, my work upon withered roses, hope for a lively union, and never marry away a right to say no. We've all gotten it wrong, haven't we? I mean, why should it have to be the drama home, boxer ring, single parenthood, inbred-ration, association of fluffy dolls, miscommunication of truth? These are the plagues we brought upon ourselves because of pride, ignorance, and fear. That a woman is a notice board of questions about sex, whether he or she, or married to be a mother, to be murdered, or to be a murderer. That a woman is a man unrecognized by the society he finds himself. And if he speaks, is asked who you are. Who are you? Like I'm asking you, who are you? Now, in North America, I'm not surprised feminism is the next rated genre of music after hip hop. That a child growing without a TV at home knows how to box like his father who doesn't think outside the box. That the clergies do not only pinch church purses, but also young women's vulnerabilities to powerlessness. That while we assemble at church to hum the hook of sounds, the bars of every line is firm in its aim. That a woman is to sing lullaby, while a man stands by his scepter with patriotic pin to the tie of the shirt. How many doors need to be slammed by women before we all realize that no kind of professional carpentry or nailing can mend the doors of broken homes? Who is the man that can fight for his dream but fight a woman? That can refuse the apple in our hand but reject our opinion? If we only realize that love to stop a woman's bleeding has gone parallel to a man's until-bruise. So dear patricentric, draw the graph of inequality before D compared to values X and Y. Say X is greater than Y and be ignorant. Say X is lesser than Y and be imbecile. Say X equals to Y and be the first to taste for the fruit of wisdom, truth, and postmodernism. I caught the cold all night and backed all night because the window of the Western world is still open and enough cold hasn't soaked dried the teary paws of many women in Africa, dunking their children in their sweat, striking prayers against caldrons in the blue of the moon to feed their husbands and children, while the children of their neighbors line up on their kindness, crashing dusty stainless plates against their bellies and bombs for a spoon of love. So wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the doll as you please, you wizard. Stick the pin to our tongue, nose, eyes, curse her to our legends. Oh, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the puppet, you wizard. Why else does the doll nod once, twice, 3 times if she doesn't have an opinion too? Thank you.
Thank you, Ayomide. Keep it going for Ayomide, everyone. All right. I can hear some fascinating form of applause. I see some applause in the chat. I see a woo and a beautiful. Thank you, folks. Can we also hear from our judges? Let's see what they think of that poem from 0 to 10 through the decimal scale. So judges, can you post at 3, 2, 1? All right, there you are, all 5 judges. So we have an 8.0, a 7.5, an 8.8, another 8.0, and a 7.0. Uh-oh. Thank you, Ian Ketaku. We have 3 minutes and 24 seconds. We're going to let those 59 milliseconds drop. But that was over time, so it's half a point for every increment of 10 seconds after 3 minutes and 10 seconds if you're following along with the math. By the way, just to go back for the math, thank you, Alyssa Ginsburg, for doing that, dropping the lowest scores, adding the middle 3. But for someone who told me about the permutations and combinations and had the right formula, I'm so impressed. I was talking about the permutations and combinations of all 5 scores, not just of 3. So that's how we get to 10.5 billion possible scores. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, but Daniel, linear time. And we're moving on to our 3rd poet in the first round. Labibah, you are on deck. Toronto and our bold, beautiful online community, please help me give a warm welcome to John Williamson. Applause, applause for John Williamson.
You know, I don't think I lack confidence any more than you do. I just got a slow metabolism for social nutrition. A little goes a long way. Too much and I'm so full I can't even move in my headspace. Or if parties are more like sugary snacks, I can take maybe like half a cookie. Now this one time, I was ripping tickets in the Market Mall movie theater before they closed it down, and this mall rat dude walked in with no shirt on. Now, I guess in a way, he had a right to be topless when he was all tall and taut and flowing back rock video, wind tunnel hair, probably a nipple ring too, not that I was looking. And I said, hey, listen, young punk, we'll have none of that gigolo stuff, not here in my theater. No shirt, no shoes, no movie. Have some decorum. Now, if you want to stay, there's a lost and found. Zip into a jacket and sit and watch your matinee like some kind of gentleman. Yeah, I said all that to him in my head as I was ripping his ticket and letting him by. But then I went and turned up the air conditioning because I don't lack confidence any more than you do. I've survived brushes with death, you know, like the time my electric blanket burned a hole right through my mattress, but it didn't touch me because death wouldn't know what to do with such a tough customer. I drink alone, like the country song sings so boldly, which like I don't even get. It's like, how is that any braver than pooping alone? Or singing in the shower with the bathroom fan on so no one can hear her dancing. Like nobody's watching, but only if I'm sure nobody is actually watching. Oh yeah, and I once went 20 rounds with a punching bag in my basement, all jabs and hooks, knees and crosses, scratches and curses. The dust mites were unable to watch your brutality, and I walked away with a split decision. So anyhow, I just want you to know when I do occasionally say something, if I seem a bit quiet, my words haven't just sped through an empty head over a fast lane tongue and out loose lips. They crossed deserts of prevarication, swam moats of self-censorship, scaled walls of analysis, dodged arrows of awkwardness, and fought dragons of doubt. So if they seem a little out of breath, these words, don't misjudge them. They've been through hell. They still made it to you. Thank you.
All right, John Williamson. Applause, everyone, for John Williamson. Not lacking confidence, getting on the Toronto Online Slam. So we are going to score all the poems with numbers from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal scale. Scoring confidence now. I see woo, yay, claps, claps. Judges, please drop your scores at 3, 2, and 1. Oh, someone's giving me math to do. Dana, can you decide if you want to make that a 8.8 or an 8.7? I know the mathematical rule, but we normally have flipping cards. Thank you so much. So I'm just waiting on one more. Luca, you have your score? I think I can hear what your dog thinks of the poem, but somehow I don't have your text there. There we go, 8.5. Amazing. Maybe, although it's very cute. Hello, dog. So we have an 8.7, an 8.8, a 7.5, a 7.4, and an 8.5. Who let the dogs out? Applaud for the poem, not the score. Y'all are doing great. I'm going to just notice the time and say it's 9 after 9 on my watch. I'm so sorry that we are running close to the end time. I hope you have nowhere else to go tonight and you can stick around for the fact that this takes longer than I thought it would. But great. So Lisa Shen is on deck, and our penultimate poet of the first round is none other than Labibah. Give it up for Labibah and welcome Labibah to the stage.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. My daughter asked me to read her a bedtime story about a princess with a young heart and is carefree, who lives in a world of happiness and glee. How can I tell her the world is not what she thinks it is? It's cruel. It will bring her down and push her to the ground. It will yell at her over and over, "You're worth it, you're a mistake, and you don't deserve it." How can I tell her that the real truth of the world is actually burned? How can I tell her that a boy can't also like a unicorn, or he will be considered cursed? Or that dragons never get filled with power and are always at thirst? How can I tell her that the punishment isn't a fancy dungeon, but a jump off a cliff, or how her fate can easily be chosen? How can I tell her that the people she will call friends don't really know how her story ends? And how can I tell her that one day her crown will weigh heavy on her head as she has to choose between responsibility or dignity? Or how she will face scrutiny for her looks and lifestyle, and that she will need her thoughts and heart to reconcile? And how can I tell her that princesses cannot be saved by a mere kiss, and that was just a mere myth? And how can I tell her the pink princess can't also like the green princess, or how the yellow can't play with the red? If she asked, I don't know what I would have said. Or how the darkness will try to engulf her. She will try to fight it. She will come out a warrior or skeleton. They're fierce or doubtful. There is no in between. By hook and by crook, she will fight for her life. She will look in the mirror and see herself holding a knife. She will need a blade so polished she could see her reflection, and eyes so big she could see right through the deception. The only way to fight the darkness is to embrace it. Now that's a story for another day. For now, I will keep her safe with stories full of creativity and play. I will protect her from the world. I will protect her from the world in my suit of shining armor, as she's my princess, and it will be my honor.
Yes, give it up for Labibah, taking the online stage. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm just having a slight technical difficulty, so sorry for the clashing sounds. Give it up, give it up, give it up. What am I seeing in the chat? I see yay, wow, and snap. Thank you, Toronto and online community. So, judges, please judge the poem with numbers from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal scale. This is your chance. So we are going to drop them now at 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, there's Miriam. Rahma, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Toka. So for that poem by our penultimate poet in the first round, we have a 9.6, an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.6, and an 8. As you can see, our next poet is ready to go. Lisa.
An ocean of time. We sit on your couch, soft light reflecting between the walls, a clock quietly ticking away in the background, counting the seconds of us falling into each other. Seconds that can flow by as expected, like a familiar stream, or trickle through my fingers more quickly, then between the cracks before I'm able to taste the water. And sometimes jump, sailing through the jets and mall fountains, skipping entire minutes and days. When we first met, I was serious about you, in the way that a child who has never seen the ocean is curious about the sound of its waves and what it might like to be held by the water. Now, after having danced in the rain, I've discovered I have a taste of the sea. I want an ocean of frozen time. Give me the Pacific and I will spend it on us. For it is not love that either of us are lacking or things to do, places to see. It is time. I want 300 days with you on a deserted island, where time lets down the billowing levels of your ship, steers gently into the Emerald Bay, and lies down on the warm sand. Like across this family and Robinson Crusoe, but where we are the only savages. In the daylight, our will dance far over the foaming white waves, twirling like seabirds in the salty air. In the afternoon heat, we will swing through the jungle on thick green vines, stopping only to catch one another as we fall up and down a kaleidoscope of leaves. Sunset, we will sit together on the rocky outcrops over the ocean and watch, mesmerized, as a half circle of liquid gold dips down into the horizon and our hearts form shadow against the backdrop of the limestone cliffs. At twilight, we will lie on our backs out on the open beach, breathing in the calm of the cool summer winds, and watch the stars winking at us through a tapestry of darkening blue. When the crescent moon finally climbs up the celestial ceiling and shines down overhead, we will back into the canopy of trees and spark a fire with nothing but the touch of our fingertips. Breathing in the clouds, we will sit back and watch tendrils of soft gray smoke curl up into the chilly night air while our voices share a story. Then, just before the moon slips back down into the water, I will remain separating me from you. We are not children running hand in hand over uninhabited sand, and Crew's canoe would be shattered by the force of the cargo ships and oil tankers that sail our seas. The oceans of this world do not freeze, and carried we are by the currents of modern living that's an unstoppable force through lecture halls that swirl in eddies in the stale air of examination rooms, like hurricanes that devastate the framework of our carefully crafted cities. So we take what we can. In the little moments between time, we send off paper notes and glass bottles and watch them travel and down over the waves until they disappear past the horizon. In the quiet evenings before we drift away, we drift toward one another, carried by the winding rivers, till we find ourselves floating in the lagoon of hushed voice, entangled by the invisible threads of a telephone. And somehow, from the smallest spring, blossoms grows.
Shen. All right, Lisa, it'd be great, I think, if you muted your microphone. Maybe you just did. Applause, everyone in the chat. I see, woohoo, hooray, amazing poem. To the person who said retweet, we do have some live tweets happening a little bit on, on Twitter, so you can check that out after the show to share further and let people know what we're doing here. We're going to try and do a same but better version of this on March 22nd. So judges, please judge the poem from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal scale. 3, 2, 1. All right. We've got Rahma. Oh, thank you. We've got a 9.2, a 10, an 8.8, another 9.2, and a 9.6. Give it up one more time for Lisa Shen. Woo! All right, so that was our last poet in the first round. We did it, and it took most of the time that I thought it would take for the whole thing. I was wrong. We are going to do 6 poets in reverse order after Alyssa Ginsberg does some math. A few of us are going to use the bathroom, drink some water. I would like you to know how amazing my wife is. She brought me this fancy drink that she put grapefruit in. You know, hydrate yourself, take a little break. And then we will be back with 2 poems from our feature poet, Sea Command, broadcasting live from somewhere else in Toronto. And then it'll be very exciting to hear the 6 poets, the top ranked poets in reverse order. Again, we are going to give out 2 prizes and 1 $80 e-transfer prize. I'm so used to saying cash. And it's so great to be with you despite the circumstances. Thanks, everyone, and I will see you.
Wait. Do we want to announce who's moving on to the next round, or we'll wait till after?
You did the math already? So quick, Alyssa Ginsberg?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, I think I don't want to, it's like so stressful to do slam, so let's just let the people know who's moving on.
So we have a tie for 6th, so that means we're going to have 7 poets in the second round.
Okay.
Who? Okay, so this is going to be the order. Lisa Shen, Labibah, Kassirer, Eve, Cass Myers.
Oh, no, I lost you.
Oh, it's okay. I'll write it down for you.
Okay.
Noha and Cameron.
This is the new tune from my boy at the code name, aka AK. It's called Vibrate. Enjoy. Sit too long, take a sip too long, reminisce when I trip too long, had a whip too long, lean back on a late in the ditch too long, had to get through storm with the elevated. I think I'm a bit too gone. Hamilton zone. I go sit too long, take a sip too long, reminisce when I on the trip too long, had a whip too long, lean back on a this too long, had to get through storm with the elevated. I know too calm and the next too strong, can't back, let me spend a lot of time on my phone, it ain't good for the soul, so I put it on vibrate. Been through the trenches, twisted dimensions, couple people time I arrive late. Show you one more, I can't really see it sitting with me like we going on a blind date. You could be a legend if you want it, when you get it, never voting, fuck what everybody else is saying. I need help, in the fast lane, I ain't got a seatbelt. Fuck being hurt, man, I wanna be felt, so I throw up on the beat when I wanna scream, yell. Banging on the door, cause a nigga locked out, jumped on the whole train, then I had to hop out, and the very next station, the stakes is high, so I gotta let the game decide. Young niggas getting trained to die, old niggas getting buried alive. Sit too long, take a sip too long, reminisce when I on the trip too long, had to whip too long, lean back on a too long, had to get through storm with the elevated. I think I'm a bit too calm, and the next too strong, get back, let me.
Sounds just like a new beginning. Let's run through the tunnel vision. More time, no time, exasperated patience.
Tried to call a million times and no one won't stop. Calling to apologize, it's good, my heart stop.
All right, and that concludes our intermission right on time. We are back. My name is Tanya Newmeyer. I'm with the Toronto Poetry Slam. Glad to see that 58 of us are still here together for the arts, for making poetry happen. We are going to hear from our feature poet first. So please, Callahan, Sea Command. I forgot to check that you are still there. Trusting that you are still there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, it is me. I am here. I've been here all along.
Studying music in India, living now in Toronto. There's many more official things I'm supposed to say about this wonderful human Sea Command and all the different ways in which he performs with multiple people and musics and things. Give it up for Sea Command, everyone. Woo!
Hello, everyone. Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. It's digital connection. I am here now. As are you here now. Very nice. So I just want to do 2 pieces for you fine poetry enthusiasts tonight. Oh, I do that and now I'm here? Is that the situation? Hello?
You just fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is sort of a sneak peek of the later said I might do once this is all blown over. So back at the Toronto Poetry Slam. So it's congrats to everybody for coming together tonight. And I'm going to press a button. Oh, here we go. And with a little help from my friends, we will begin.
Big messenger, red sound, new country, selling okay, mine.
I listened to Jean-Luc Ponty. You caught me, tripping upon these bomb beats and broccolis, giving me all this energy. How can it be better than Ponty? I'll be asleep. You got to trust me. I taste enough beef that no beef between us will ruffle me. I'm above the reactionary jazz fusionist whack. You in the back, settle back down, just drool in your lap. Who's that? Like a cool draft on a hot neck. On deck. With the calm technique to let your heart get free, healthy, like fresh squeezed orange juice. Jean-Luc, Jean-Luc, Jean-Luc. Like a forest druid, Gadzooks can he pour this fluid. Oh, if only more kids knew it, he's unimportant human, they get you more into it, into the groove. Jump on in, he begins to give a swing on the line of cosmic mind of time. I think I wanna go again, I wanna roller coaster, give me some more Jean-Luc. What a dude! He moves like a tornado across the field. Plastic pink flamingos, look and go in the air. They're spinning up around you, around you, around you, around you. They are around you and tumbling back down to the ground. Occasional hard times and dark minor chords are gonna be mine and yours over the years. Growing the beards of the poets and seers. You know what it is? Wisdom in the flow of the tears. I know they're gonna appear under all of veneer. And the venereal is where you'll go to swallow your fears of being as solitary as the Mother Mary appears up to her Jesus gets jabbed with a spear. How about a beer? How about a breather? How about a fine French cheese? The kind that pleases a mind gently. I recommend any record recorded of an electric violin perfected by the man who's rocking and rolling in jazz, man. I listen to Jean-Luc Ponty all day, and you can't stop me, no. You can't stop me from listening to Jean-Luc Ponty when I want to do it. If I gotta stay at home one night and I can't go outside because the time's not right, because people are dealing with this crazy sickness in the world and you gotta be by yourself or connect on the internet, have a good time, and you can listen to the music that soothes your soul. But in my case, I'm talking about listening to the music of Jean-Luc Ponty. Jean-Luc Ponty. And we're gonna go listening to Jean-Luc Ponty right now. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Who I recommend to listen to if you ever fancy some crazy jazz fusion music. Oh, there's a piano right here too. Look at this. There's a piano for me to play right now. Oh my God. Oh, it makes noise too. Let us begin. Let us begin. In an inimitable rhythm, a veritable therapy has arisen, heralding the linkage of a vision of a vast emptiness with an invitation to perhaps left in this world together to get past the loneliness and practice the flow harmonious. I'm known to get cracked. Death puts me at half mast. That's beginning for the last track. That's raging at the last that it'll be left at after the last gasp of my flesh sack. Back to the present, to the practice of being present, receiving the present, and is the present, is the gifting the present to those present. says it. I just open up an old crevice that I usually use to throw lettuce into, but I get it. You think I'm better than those predators peddling their platitudes from pedestals? Still I get competitive, so I better give it a rest before I give it my prerogative to rigorously ring around it like a rose hip, pocket full of poetry, thrown like a smoke bomb for the enemy to choke down as I get away from detonate. Anyway, did you get that news item? A manifesto some dudes writing? You read it then, presto, true enlightenment. I begin to question the righteousness. Like, is this fella really hella cognizant of all the obstacles to common blissful consciousness? What a bit individual. Isn't it a bit presumptuous of him to lump all this happiness into the one factor which will make everybody want to bump to dance? Does everybody want to bump to dance? From wherever you are, does everybody want to bump to dance? Does everybody want to bump to dance? Everybody want to bump to dance? Does everybody wanna bump to this? Does everybody wanna bump to this? Everybody wanna bump to this? Did you bump to this? Anybody wanna bump to this? Everybody wanna bump to this? Everybody wanna bump to this? Everybody wanna bump to this? I've come to grips the fact. I didn't come to grip the facts. I came for the shits and laughs. People try to grip the passage of the sand with their fingertips as it slips, and they grip the shaft like a lifeline, but it's more like a mine shaft into which life climbs. The dirt and the grime, the search for the shine. I've come to grips with the fact. I didn't come to grip the facts. I came to resist the craft. People try to build to last whatever they can build at last. After whatever skill and mastery, still in practicing whatever. Grip until the grip gets better. You grip until forever, even after the grip gets severed. Love is delivered. I've come to grips with the fact. I didn't come to grip the facts. I came for the myths and master the elixir. Fixer of an affliction. Not sure if it's a fiction, but I figure it can function as a mission. Gone fishing for a mystic vision of holistic interconnection. I've come to grips with the fundamental wonderment, a window into intimacy with the immensity of this potential in which we exist. Some of this is irrelevant to whatever hell it is you're living in, but I bet if you let it in, you'll get a benefit. Maybe even 10 of it. Maybe even come to grips with the brevity, the fragility, the virility, but then it'll be a comedy, the calamity. Can it really be the community of too many for unity, the humanity, the heredity, the repetitive and dynamic of everything? Getting me pretty intent to do the thing I was meant to. You and me can come to grips. 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 Yeah.
All right, applause for C Command, everyone. Give it up, give it up. Toronto, Illinois, Vancouver. Give it up loud and proud for that poetry, taking this virtual mic on a little tour with a little song, a little dance.
That was fun. And with some thanks to my friends as well.
Amazing, thank you.
With the awesome lighting and cinematography.
Thank you, C Command and team.
All righty.
Have so much fun
love.
with all the board games, and we'll see you in person at Toronto Poetry Slam one day.
Sounds good. When the planets align and when the time is right, I'll be there. You just call on me. All right.
And thank you again.
Good night, everybody. Yeah.
Wasn't that fabulous to see a feature poet, a person doing their thing with joy and without scores? Really nice breath of fresh air for me over here. But now we're going to get back into this sport that is Toronto and maybe worldwide. Fun fact, we have a worldwide champion in our hometown, which is Nketaku. What? So I didn't hear back from our sacrificial poet. We're gonna go into the slam proper. if I missed your message, it looks like someone, Angelica, is trying.
Yeah, I asked them if we didn't have someone, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, please help me give a warm welcome to our sacrificial poet reminding us how to do the thing with the numbers. Give it up for Angelica. Woo! Loud and proud. Here we go. Back into the slam, Toronto.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. This poem is called Lilac, Colors of a Kiss. The color is lilac. We rest our heads, each one on the other's belly. She points out constellations. The color is indigo. We chase the boy together. It is good teamwork. He falls in love with both of us. We fall in love with each other. The color is rouge. The velvet painting at the burrito place hangs like a prophecy. The color is black. I did tell her in the car that I like girls too. This morning, as blue herons flew over the horizon, her father jumped on the trampoline like a child. She is reading poems to me, whispering the neat pages of her journal to the stars. The color is still black. When she asks me if I have kissed a girl before, the color is red. Delicious red. The color is fresh cherries, warm raspberries. The color is purple as a bodied pause. The color is the pink of our lips. The color is a painful red. The color is gray. We almost jump off the bridge into the water. A boy with a beard watches us stand on the edge while she climbs bravely over the ledge and extends her wild lilac to me. I don't jump. She tells me the boy is just my type. I add him on Facebook. I like to dip my feet in first. We go on a hike. The color is green. I want to ask her to kiss me just once more to make sure. The color is brown. I leave on a seaplane. The color is summer night blue. She says, I know what I've done. I just say, sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm so sorry. Thanks, guys. That was my poem.
Give it up for Angelica. Thank you so much for sharing your poem. Yes, yes.
You're welcome.
We have some chats.
It's nice to be here from Vancouver.
All the way from Vancouver. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
I love we've got some qualitative feedback. Thanks for sharing. Claps in gay. You've got such a nice voice. And now we are going to judge
Love you guys.
Numbers.
Thanks, TPS.
Good to see you. So now we are recalibrating with a new judge and our 4 judges who are still here. So please raise your scores in the virtual chat. 3, 2, 1. We have, you did it. Fabulous. Thank you. We've got a 9.0, a 9.3, an 8, a 10, and a 9.1. All right, keep it going for Angelica Solomon. Woo! So, Labibah, you are on deck, and Toronto and national and international community of people loving poetry. Please help me give a warm welcome to Lisa Shen. Welcome, Lisa Shen. Woo! Welcome back.
All right. I'm just going to do it without video because that might like better. This poem is called Cigarette Smoke. The cigarette smoke reminds me of China. Bright red haw fruit strung onto a stick, glistening with ice sugar in the middle of March. The open-air vegetable markets, where you can buy pineapple sliced into the shape of a flower and freshly cracked sesame. The tight alleyways dotted with endless rows of street vendors selling candy, toys, and colored scarves. The rushing arteries of the Beijing subway system, a dense network of overlapping tunnels an ocean of people to work, to schools, to homes, my own. Teaching my sister and I how to fold bits of paper into tiny, plump stars. If he loves you, he will gift you 1,000 in a glass, she says. The apples in my grandparents' home, kept outside on the porch in the refrigerator each morning, I would quietly open the sliding glass door and pick one from the line of crisp breads. My Lala, grandmother, and how my 5-year-old hands would pull at her clothing so early in the morning to wake her up so we could make shadow bits in the momentary light of the rising dawn. In the gentle glow, my small fingers recreate the shape of a rabbit, a bird, a dog. She cherishes these interruptions. They are so few and far between, every 2 years or 3, or lately 6, counting. The smell of cigarette smoke reminds me of all these things, all at once. And all at once, I am somehow homesick for a place I've hardly been. I'm homesick for a China that lives only in memory. The country is changing so fast. My mother tells me stories of how, as a child, there were no cars on the street. Instead, everyone rode bicycles to work, metal gears clinking, reflecting morning and afternoon glow. Now, with each passing moment, street vendors uprooted to make room for a new shopping mall. With each passing moment, a vegetable market gives way to a store. I am so proud of how fast this country can construct a skyscraper, a high-speed train, but at the same time, I grieve for the damp, unheated homes, the hard, wooden bed, the strings of laundry waving in the wind. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Shen, keep it going, everyone. Applause, applause. Virtually, and maybe in your living room, or your bedroom, or on the porch, or I don't know. Where are you? There's Lisa. Yay, you're in the club. So judges, our audience is saying, woo, yay, great one, wow. And judges are going to score that poem with numbers. Judges, please raise your scorecards. Okay, so we have a 9.0, a 9.2, an 8.5, an 8.2, and a 9.1. Give it up for the poet. Woo! Thank you, Lisa. All right, we figured out technical difficulties. We are doing amazing with this online thing, innovating. So Kassirer is on deck. Slam community, please help me give a warm welcome to Labibah, all the way to the virtual stage.
First, we're going to discuss women of the world. Can we talk about how we're so absurd, thinking of how much we could have conquered? Makes me feel so concerned. Men, don't get the hint. Do things without thinking of the risk. Girl, you could do better than let your heart sink. Give them a run for their money and let them shrink. Girl, here's my advice. You rise or burn, make them squirm. Let them be the ones to think of you as firm. Make a scene. Don't say queen because you're a queen. Do what's right, but don't end the fight. Don't worry, you'll reach their heights. Be still and stay in plain sight. They won't know who has the mic. Don't come out until the night. That's when you'll be ready to strike. Thank you. Sorry, it was a little short.
All right, give it up. Ready to Strike was Labibah, and that was the poem. Thank you. We have a go. Love the power. Woo, amazing. And judges, I hope you're still there and ready now. Let's give your scores. 3, 2, 1. All this positive affirmation in the chat is fabulous. We have fifth judge who got lost. There they are. 7.8. I'm like hearing the boo and the clap and the cheer and all the things that we hear remotely, but I usually hear it in person. That was a 7.8, an 8.0, an 8.9, an 8.5, and an 8.3. Give it up one more time for Labibah. Woo! Thank you so much for sharing your work tonight. Eve, you are on deck. Slam people online, please help me give a warm welcome back to Kassirer. Welcome, Kay.
Picasso paints portraits of prostitutes, then says, there are only 2 types of women, goddesses and doormats. And I wonder how Picasso would have seen me, young, naive dreamer, sad in all the pretty ways, goddess for pay, doormat when needed to be safe. Picasso said, women are machines for suffering, saw suffering and turned it into art, saw women and turned them into art. Picasso liked young girls. He liked models. He liked modeling women into whatever his hands could make of them. He made art by carving away pieces of objects until all that was left was his impression. Understood it was tireless work. Sometimes he'd carve away too much. The canvas, no longer perfect, was to be discarded. Picasso picked up girls and tossed them aside like paintings he wasn't proud of anymore. Like another stage of art he's moved on from. Like he has a new style now, a new muse now, someone whose essence he hasn't captured yet. And I too have been loved until it wasn't fun anymore. Had someone strip me of myself, calling it art, then ask where the old me went. When Picasso said, women are machines for suffering, what I think he meant was that he does not know how to turn happiness into art, but maybe if he made the world around him miserable, called his partner weeping woman instead of by her name, maybe then people would remember him instead.
Thank you, Kay. Kassirer. Let's hear some online applause. See it, feel it for that poem. Get it right. Great job. Yes. Charisma off the charts. Let's go, judges. We are going to judge that poem with numbers. The art with numbers from 0 to 10, 3, 2, 1. Raise your scorecards for them. We've got a 10. 8.8, a 9.5, a 9.6, and an 8.0. Give it up for Kay Kassirer. Woo! And please help me, Slam community. Welcome back, Cassandra Myers. Woo!
After sneaking my wife across the border illegally so we can be together, or offering. They make you question the ring on your finger, the I do belong on this side of a promise, the border, its serrated edge, a tripwire my love jump ropes monthly for medicine. If only her car could slip through the meat of a lie like the syringe, entering the nation state of her freckled thigh, never interrogating the vein as a legal host. When my wife and I are pulled over at the northern flypaper, the fence asks for her name tossed backwards towards a bloodline that wears the border officer's face. He rips the sheets off our bed, calls how we sleep, criminal. Even with my last name clutching hers, our blue passports dressed like sisters, denied is a letter opener slicing through our lip-glued fingers. He says, I can deport her right now. And what I hear is, I can take everything you love most and send you back on all fours. There's nothing a border won't steal. Separation is its birthright. It takes by law of shattering, feasts on cars rusting at its chin, hoards applications to wipe its oily mouth. What is entry but a map folded along the estuaries of longing? What is a ticket but a trade from all that crops from your touch? Indians traded ancient family recipes for British citizenship. Safe passage by route of mouth to gut. Tandoori chicken bones scalped into a skeleton key. In mirror of my ancestors, I present this offering. Take my Nana's hand, made chapatis. Take Aunt Audrey's silkiest doll. Take Dad's golden cotti. Take a slice of our wedding cake. Take the buttercream straight from the corners of my mouth in the photo. Take my left breast and its dandelion milk. Take my hand writing down the recipe. But do not take the book where it is written. Do not take my love, stacking the book on its shelf. Do not take my love. Don't you want to go home to your wife without dialing up her face, officer? Don't you dare look at mine with all that fence in your speech. I will spin a feast of gold from the pit of me to satiate the globe maker's need for locks. This penciled line is trespassing on our forever. How can I snap what is drawn in the sand? How can I bring a marriage into the future when all I can carry across is her laugh dancing in a voicemail? How can I blink away from her face, even for a second, faster than the slamming of a door, when all I am guaranteed is my own hands, reaching through a fence?
Reaching through a fence to us. Give it up for Cass Myers. Sharing that poem in the second round. We have So Good All the Time claps. Holy yes. Clap, 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 clap. Judges, are you ready to score that poem with numbers from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal scale? Please raise your scorecards. In the air like you don't care what anyone thinks of your score. Okay, we're waiting on one deliberating judge. Maybe, yep, Rahma.
It's at the top. Rahma put a 9.
Oh, we have a 9.0, a 9.6, a 10, a 9.5, and a 10. Give it up for Cassandra Myers with that stunning poem. Thank you so much. Noha, oh, sorry, Cameron, you are on deck. Slam community, please help me welcome back the penultimate poet of this first online poetry slam. Give it up for Noha. Woo! You're applauding in your living room.
Like a puzzle, this world is comprised of pieces put together, and whether or not we feel we fit in, there is a spot reserved for us all, and in our presence, somehow the world makes sense. The puzzle is complete, but slowly, piece by piece, something is being taken away from the inside of me, leaving my edges so rough and my middle incomplete. The stuff that I feel is so overwhelming, I fear I will never find healing. From the absence of the pieces, the ones that were once here but are now missing, I am beginning to wonder what my purpose is. Why are we here? People are dying all over the world every day, and they don't know it, but they are taking a piece of me with them. Because I'm struggling to see where I fit in when they are not here. Is this world a puzzle that was never meant to be complete, but left with a gaping hole in the middle? I am hanging onto the edge, wondering when I will breathe my last breath, and after my death, life will go on for everyone left, which, okay, I get, but something is wrong when I already feel like I am dead on the inside. How can I smile and be at peace when all around me people are suffering? This world is so puzzling to me. Everyone so different in color and shape, in the way that they make the puzzle that is this world so perfect. Each piece blends into the next like they are holding hands in perfect harmony, as we should be, but we are not. Each day that passes, my memory lapses more, and I can't remember a time when everything was fine and the world was full. Every piece of me is broken inside. I have everything I need, but I'm struggling to be satisfied when I see or hear of people in need. Greed is a language my heart does not speak. I was never one to be weak, but with me, what you see is what you get. So in that, I open the doors to my own pain, and those who seek to break my heart have taken the opportunity and done so. Because between all the madness in the world and chaos in my head, I can only take so much. I have the urge to run, but I can't move. My piece is glued. From the aerial view, the earth is here, but I am way over there. I feel I don't fit in anywhere, but something has put me here. So I fear I'm here for a purpose, and I don't know what it is. And will I die before I ever figure it out? That thought alone will scare me straight to my death. I am holding my breath until I find my place in this space and time. By God's grace, I will serve my purpose. You see, I believe that I fit somewhere in this puzzling world. I'm just waiting for God to place me there. Thank you.
Just waiting for God to place me there. Give it up for Noha. Woo! Yes. Applause, applause. I see yay, snaps, love, and more woo. Thank you so much. I don't know how to describe that emoji. So judges, can you please score that poem with numbers from 0 to 10 all the way through the decimal score? Please raise your scorecards in the air like you don't care. I mean, you do. I know. It's true. It's true. That's why you're here. Thank you for doing all of your work tonight. Two more judges. We have a 9.0, a 7.5, an 8.8, another 9.0, and a 9.2. And a translation for an emoji makes my heart feel good. Oh, good to know. Amazing. So please help me give a warm welcome, Poetry Slam community, for our last poet. Give it up for Cameron. Woo! Give it up for Cameron from the top of the slam.
The Battle of the Psalm, a mini-series. 1. The wretched rubble of my broken heart surrounds me. The chaos is deafening. The hurt is blinding. The anger is suffocating. I can't help but wonder, how the fuck did we get here? We used to be a metropolitan city. Our lights were so bright we could make the whole map glow. The glow in your eyes when you looked in mine filled me with the life of millions. Millions of people wish to visit our success. Now, we are a war-torn town. There's nothing but hostility in every corner. I try to light a street lamp, but you mistake it for an act of rebellion, so you throw grenades made of insults and words you can't take back faster than I can say good morning. 2. My mind is the worst battlefront I know. I've been fighting myself for so long, I do not know what peace is supposed to look like. I don't know how to surrender when there is no tangible offender. At least, that was until I met you. For months, the gunfire ceased in my thoughts. It was replaced with the sound of your voice, but your voice has turned into the silent sniper hidden in the alleyway. The tip of your tongue tastes of tiny bullets. The metal in your mouth is more bitter than anything my mind makes me believe. 3. You have buried your trauma in the depths of this soil, but your trauma is a ticking time bomb that needs to explode. It's no wonder our home was blown up when it was built on a land of painted landmines. How could I have known what the triggers were when all you showed me was a paved street? Of course, I followed the road towards the skyscraper of our dreams, but this was no road. This was merely vulnerability painted black. 4. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we got here. The fact is we got here. There is no turning back. The glass light bulbs have shattered. We cannot illuminate these streets again. Since September, we've been lighting fires to keep ourselves warm, but it's already February and nothing has changed. The electricity in our city will never return. We may find lone sparks along the road, but there will only fuel more fires. Fighting fire with fire will only make the world burn. Fighting violence with violence will only lead to more violence, and I'm sick of stitching myself back together just to be broken again. I will not let you break me anymore. I will take this rubble, and I will build something even more beautiful than what you broke, and with it, I will finally walk away.
Give it up for Cameron. Yes. Walking away. Woo woo. Snaps. I'm seeing applause and thanks, Cameron. I needed this poem, Heart in the chat. Thank you, everyone. That was our final poet of the second round. We are going to score that poem with our gracious judges who have been scoring all of the poems. Thank you so much, judges. Please raise your scorecards. We have an 8.1, an 8.7, a 9.0, another 9.0, and a 9.5. Give it up for Cameron. Yes. Woo. Thank you so much. Someone said put all those socials up, especially if you're one of the poets who performed tonight. Let's let them go first, and then otherwise we can have other folks connect as well. That is what this is about, community. Check out our Toronto Poetry Slam Twitter. There's some photos there. Maybe they'll be cross-posted to Insta. I know some of you are only on Instagram and not on Twitter. So we will tag you on whichever we are. If there's anything you want us to delete, just let us know. They are obviously captured just in the moment here by me on Twitter, and I'm not sure if one of my team members has anything on Instagram or Facebook. Anyways, he's a big old cat. So next Sunday, we'll be doing this Poetry Slam thing again. Hopefully we'll be able to get our featured Donnie Jackson. Oh, there you go, buddy.
He's in.
Oh, Donnie Jackson, we'll do a couple poems online. And so he was bound to fly in from LA and willing to do so despite the pandemic. But, you know, we're smarter than that. We're learning how to take care of each other and folks who are immunocompromised like yours truly by doing things online. Look at us learning. Great to be here with all of you tonight. We will see you next Sunday. So thank you everyone for being here. If you want to send us a contribution via e-transfer to info@torontopoetryslam.com, that will help us to pay the artists, pay some of the arts workers, and keep it all going. Thank you, Barbara, to my wife, for giving us her Zoom account.
Hey, Barbara.
We're going to announce, I'm going to do a little drum roll. In third, with a cumulative score of 54.6, is Lisa Shen. Give it up for Lisa Shen in the chat, applauding. All right, Lisa Shen. So Lisa, if you could send me a private message with your mailing address, I will send you a mini deck of cards for self-care. Wish I had one to show everyone right now, but Lisa won them, folks. So you have to get your own at bewith.org. That's my wife's website. The generous sponsor of this slam is brought to you by Be With for emotional feelings coaching. Check out their website. So with a 57.1 in second place, winning Sophia El Hilo's book is Kay Kassirer. Give it up for Kay Kassirer. Yeah, shout out your love for them in the chat. Kay Kassirer, second place, 57.1. So this was close, folks. I guess this will be until next Sunday. Hold on, buddy. This will be our champion reigning online slam poet or something like that. Maybe someone has a more brief way to say it. But our slam champion of the online community slam is, with a 57.3, Cassandra Myers. Yes, give it up for them in the chat. Love Cass's work. Thank you so much for sharing stunning pieces. Yeah, this was a really wonderful way for us to be together. We will innovate and improve on it. If you also want to send any Cass Myers, Quarantine Slam winner is my gender. I adore you. If you want to send us any feedback or any ideas on how to manage this, yeah, congrats to everyone and thank you. I am going to leave this wonderful setup and start really placing my wife's office back and our guest room back to as it should be. But what I'll do actually is just mute everything and leave things hanging out. So if you all want to keep chatting for a little while, you can, say goodnight or message each other. So again, we appreciate you for being here together with us and taking care of others by not being out in the world and like spreading germs. Take good care. Thank you and good night.